Hello, Zimbabwe. Kumatimana Osenika, thank you for having me on this program, news review on Change Radio Zimbabwe. As you see, people around the country, Zimbabwe, they are still waiting for their president, and they still have the confidence, as you see on this video that we have played a few seconds ago. They still have the confidence of Advocate Nelson Chamisa as the only leader who will resurrect or give democracy to the people of Zimbabwe. As I quote the speech that was posted by President Chamisa this week, he says, open quote, not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. Be blessed, close quote. So I think we have a bright future with the leadership of Advocate Nelson Chamisa. Thank you for having us on this program. Today we are going to talk about stories that was publicized around the country on different platforms, in newspapers, on internet. We will be going to talk about the issue of Zimbabwe government introducing a new land tenure document. As you know, last week the cabinet have agreed to change or to convert the present documents on land like the 99-year leases, offer letters, and permits, to convert them to be held under bankable, registratable, and transferable document issued by the government of Zimbabwe. But we are still yet to find out what type of document is that one. Is it a title deed or what is it? We are yet to see what the document look like. But before we go any further about that topic, we still have a lot of issues when it comes to land in Zimbabwe. Yes, people have got land in Zimbabwe, but we still have some bottlenecks on our land program in Zimbabwe. One, the land was allocated on a partisan manner. Two, according to government policy, the government of Zimbabwe have got a policy of one man, one farm. But we all know that there are some people who are alleged to have owned more than one farms. Some they are alleged to own more than 20 farms. If you still recall, on 3 May 2023, on the Herald, there was a story about Simba Chikore versus Bona about their divorce, and it was alleged that Simba Chikore listed 21 farms owned by Mugabe's. So he was he stated those farms to be shared among themselves. So it means there's a lot behind the scenes by the elite. There are people who are owning a lot of farms, and we are yet to see also the audit report from the audit report that was done by Ms. Barry. They audited in 2023, they audited about 254 farms, 538. And we have yet to see the report, because as a country, we have to see the report must be publicized. And also the government must list down all the farms that is in the country and who is owning those farms. Each farm per each individual. And we know and understand those farms which are looted by the regime, they can use other tactics like for registering a farm to a shelf company. But the good thing is they should list down each farm and the name of the owner. If the farm is owned by the company, they should list down the directors of those companies to iron out the discrepancies in the farm ownership in Zimbabwe. And there are some farmers which are subdivided, yes, which are bigger, and several people were allocated. And there are other farms which are merged into one farm. And those they must be explained why they are made. If there's good clarification, it's okay. Then we still have people in the farms who doesn't have any form of title of ownership in those farms. They just stay on the farms. We have thousands and thousands of families like those ones. So yeah, the government should iron out what they were going to do with those farms. Especially there were those people like former farm workers. When their former white employers were evicted from their farms, they left staying on those farms, and they are still staying on farms, but they don't have any title of ownership. We also have those people they only call themselves Ndisu Takadzinga Warungupano, but they don't have any type of ownership. I think you witness when some of those people were evicted, you find out people complaining that takudzingwa muno mafarms but Ndisu Takabvisa Murunganga ari pano paprazi, because they don't have ownership. So I think the government should sort out those problems. And in Zimbabwe, there's rampant corruption in all state institutions. We are afraid also that there will be other people who get those title of ownership, while they don't have those farms on the ground. And those people on the ground, they will not get the title of ownership. So what will be the end result is they will be evicted, because they will not have the title of ownership. So they should have a lot of things to be done. The government should come to the people and they should discuss this issue, so that even if the documents come out, the financial institutions or any other person will be able to accept those documents. But it will be difficult, because as per law of Zimbabwe, the agricultural land is owned by the government. So I don't know if someone got the title of ownership. If he want to sell the land, is he going to sell the land or the development that he does on the land? It's another question, because we all know that people got land for free, and there's no need of selling those land, except if they want to sell to charge for the development that they did on those farms. In other words, people, they suspect that there are people who looted more farms, but they want to dispose their farms. So yeah, it will be a difficult issue. So yeah, the government should address those issues, so that we will not continue to have same problems, especially on the land issue. we have got a lot of issues that is happening on the land issue, multiple farm ownership, and different stories are happening. Yeah. Then on the other issue, the topic that we are going to talk about today is the issue about the UN, the AU. The EAU tells Zimbabwe to create a conducive environment for business. This was said by the head of EU delegation in Zimbabwe, Mr. Govt von Tichman, because he said that next year EU is expecting to send to bring 27 member states companies to Zimbabwe to explore investment opportunities in Zimbabwe. As you know, Zimbabwe has got abundant resources, natural resources in mining, agriculture, even in terms of human resources. We have got people who are hardworking, intelligent. So the investors, EU is saying they will bring 27 member state companies to Zimbabwe. But the EU head of delegation was saying for the private investor to invest in countries, Zimbabwe has to put its house in order because there is some high risk in Zimbabwe as we speak, like the risk of currency. You know, we don't have a stable currency. We don't have a consistent economic policies. Also, legal risk. You know, the issue of property rights, the issue of if the investors came and invested their funds in Zimbabwe, are their funds or are their business protected by the laws of the country? And also there is political risk in Zimbabwe because there is a political instability. As you know, there is an incarceration of opposition members. There is the democratic space in Zimbabwe is closed, and you also, even within the ruling party ZANU-PF, there is infighting between the different functions. So it's another risky factor. So the EU head of delegate was saying the government, Zimbabwean government should put its house in order, should make Zimbabwe a conducive environment so that everyone will be able to come and invest without afraid of any risk factor. Right. Then we also have another issue that is the burning issue in Zimbabwe. As you know, Zimbabwe is a football nation. People of Zimbabwe like soccer very well. And we are going to have the ZIFA elections probably early next year in January. Unfortunately, some of the Zimbabwean fans were saying, does Zimbabwe have the Minister of Sport? As we know, currently we have the Minister of Sports, Kirsty Coventry, is the Minister of Sports. Unfortunately, in football, we don't have a home ground for the national team. And especially the sports in Zimbabwe, yeah, it's there's disaster in sports in management in Zimbabwe. So people were saying, do we have a minister? Because it seems the minister is not taking serious action. But for me, naturally, I think Kirsty Coventry is a good, patriotic, and good leader. Unfortunately, he's working with the cowards. So it's like munhu wewe ari kungodzidiridza achipiwa akapiwa chitini chakaboka saka ari kunzidiridza. So you find out kuti if you look, last time he promised that Zimbabwe will be playing their next fixture at National Sports Stadium. But so far you find out Zimbabwe national team played about 4 games, but they played away. Last week they played in South Africa as their home ground. So yeah, those are some of the issues that are affecting the Zimbabwean sports. But when we are talking about the ZIFA election next year, we have several people who are interested in to take over the ZIFA to be the next president of ZIFA. As you know, currently we don't have a ZIFA board, and the football is run by appointed FIFA committee. So they will hand over to the new elected board next year. So there are interesting faces who are competing. So people of Zimbabwe, they are looking for someone who's going to take Zimbabwean football to another level. So I read on the newspaper this week when one of the member of the normalization committee, Rosemary Mugadza, said they have set a prerequisite of 5O level to become the president of ZIFA. I think that topic it's an issue it would discuss. Is it necessary? But well, let's talk about the people who are considering to be the next ZIFA president. Or some of the people, they have shown interest, and others people, they are just putting their names in the basket. We have got the veteran and the patriotic footballer Peter Ndlovu, who is now the manager in Sundowns, Mamelodi Sundowns. Peter Sukuzonge is one of the most successful footballers in Zimbabwe. He applied his trade at Highlanders at early stage, I think at the age of 17, before he joined Coventry. And Peter was the first African to play in the English Premier League. And after Coventry played for several English teams before he came back to South Africa. As you know, Peter is a patriotic Zimbabwean. During his days, you know, Peter used to come to Zimbabwe same day on a Sunday and arrived at Zimbabwe International Airport 11 a.m. and at 3 p.m. he played soccer, and times he scored. So he was someone who is with his country at heart, as you know. And at times Peter is known to have forked out his funds to finance Zimbabwe national team. So he's one of the aspiring ZIFA president. We also have Dr. Wangu Mazodze. He's the owner of a team called FC Wangu. He's a football administrator. Yeah, he has shown a great interest. We also have the first lady to campaign for this position. Is based in the United Kingdom. Is a FIFA agent, and she has several accolades, and she's experienced in football marketing and administration. Yeah, her name is Ellen Chwenga. She's interested to take the helm of ZIFA. We also have Mr. Marshall Gore. Mr. Marshall Gore is also in UK. He's a UK based, but is an agent, and he has helped several footballers, especially youngsters, to ply their trade. Is involved in the development of youth soccer with the different academies, both in the country Zimbabwe and outside Zimbabwe. And he also played soccer in Zimbabwe Previously, he was a goalkeeper, and is very instrumental in bringing the so-called British Youth Brigade in the national team, because he's the one who is going around to facilitate for their passport. So Mr. Marshall Gore is playing a pivotal role in soccer, is also interested in this position. We also have I'm not sure, but we have other people calling for Themba Muliswa. As you know, Themba Muliswa is a former rugby player, a fitness trainer, and he holds a sports degree from the United Kingdom. He's a former member of parliament and is also a sub-book, but he's very instrumental. And you know, he's a no-nonsense man. And some people, they are saying it's the right people for this job. We also have the prophet himself, Prophet Walter Magaya, is the owner of Yadam, and he has built a stadium in Waterfalls. He's also sponsoring the national team and other sporting activities, and he is a man of God. So I thought you want to be the first man of God who plays trade both in the church and on the field. So he's one of the people who is trying to change the face of Zimbabwean football. Yeah. And we also have the other people like Charles Madiga, the veteran combatant, the person who knows a lot about football, the doctor of football. We have also people like Alos Bunjira, the most intellectual, one of the most successful footballers. So we have this time around, we've got people was we thought we will bring, if one of them get the chance to be at the helm of the football, I think they will change the face of Zimbabwean football. But unfortunately, as we speak, we still have, I think the Zimbabwean people, they don't want to have a person who will become the ZIFA president, and would be trying to politicize the Zimbabwean football. Zimbabwean people, they are expecting someone who is going to be serious on the issue of football and set aside politics for the politicians. And that person must use the football administration handbook or laws, not to take the operation or the handbook of how to run ZIFA from political parties or people. They don't want such type of person. They want a person who is serious about running the football affairs of Zimbabwe. So I think some of the guys who are considering to compete in these positions, yeah, I think they will bring Zimbabwe. They will change the face of Zimbabwean football if they were given chance, and if there will be no interference by the politicians, and also if they get the support from both the government and the other stakeholders, the private sector, the Zimbabwean citizens. I think those guys will bring, we change the face of football. On the issue of 5-4 levels, it's another issue. Yeah, but people, they have got their different views. Others, they say it's a good idea, because the football, we cannot have a person who doesn't have 5 O's. Some people, they said, no, when it comes to profession, there are people who are born, who have got passion, who have been in the trenches of football for more than 2 decades or 3 decades. They've got experience more than 5 O levels. They've got experience more than people who are PhD holders. So there are people who might not have 5 O levels from the list of those people who are want to contest those elections. But if they have got good history, they've got a good track record in terms of football administration, the normalization committee, they should consider those people. Yeah, because you might not have, because there are people who are academically gifted, and there are some people who are not academically gifted, but they've got their other gifts, and they acquired leadership skills when they applied their trades in several spheres. If they were players, they play in big clubs, they see how football administration is done. If they were running in the private sector and they were successful, they know how corporate governance works. If they were working in other institutions where they were successful, they should be considered for this role. Then the other topic that we are going to talk about is the issue of the allegations of Zimbabwe government interference in meddling in regional elections. Those are allegations. As you know, we have got elections in South Africa, and recently we've got elections in Mozambique. And at the end of this month, we expect elections on the 30th of October in Botswana. And also, we will be expecting elections in Namibia. So there are allegations that the Zimbabwean government, or ZANU-PF in particular, they are interfering in the political affairs in those countries. As you are aware, when in South Africa, some of the ZANU-PF members, they went to South Africa and they were found campaigning with ANC. So yeah, in Mozambique, there are some people who registered here in Zimbabwe. You find out in Masvingo, there was a former councillor from ZANU-PF who said he voted for his sister party, which is Frelimo, and we've got several people who registered to vote in Zimbabwe, in Mount Abden, around the country. So it's another issue. So you find out in Mozambique, they hold elections, and Frelimo wins the elections by 53%, and the second was an independent candidate who got about 33. Venancio got 33.84%, but he is not happy, saying the elections is rigged. And the main issue was about, he said it's about in Zimbabwe, where Zimbabweans or people without Mozambican passport, they voted in those elections. And for sure, I think they have got there are people on the ground. So there are allegations that there are people who voted in Zimbabwe, but they did not have they didn't have passports, but they only have the ID or the voting card which were issued here in Zimbabwe, which were issued to the Zimbabweans. As Mira reports, as you know, before those elections, the Mira newspapers published and said people are registered to vote for Zimbabwe, for Mozambican elections. So it's a big challenge. It's a big problem in the region, and we also had the former Botswana President Ian Khama said ZANU-PF is meddling in African regional country politics. It's now a cancer. It's now a cancer in the southern region because it's undermining other countries' electoral policies. So yeah, people, they are not happy on the interference of their electoral policy processes by the ZANU-PF government. Those are allegations, and especially on the Mozambican issue, there are substantial evidence on the ground. I don't know how and why the government allows such things to happen in Zimbabwe. Or the same thing is happening in Mozambique. When we held our own elections, there are Mozambicans in Mozambique who are registered to vote for and who vote for Zimbabwean elections, while they are not Zimbabweans. Then the other issue that we are going to tackle is the issue of weaponization of law in Zimbabwe. As you know, we have got the the Senate recently passed the PVO Act, Private Voluntary Organization Act. That act will violate human rights, including the rights to freedom of association, peaceful assembly, and association, as all NGOs will be compelled to register as PVOs. And NGOs that may denied registration will not be able to continue with their operations. And that is the new law. It means the organization will be registered under PVO Act. Some organization were registered under trustees as trustees. Under they've got the trustee deed or deed of trustee. So the new law says no. Each and every organization must register under PVO Act, and the minister and the registrar of the PVO will be responsible and will have power to appoint or fire the board of those organizations, or they've got the power to terminate employment of employees of those organizations. So the civic organizations and citizens in particular, they were not happy because they are now trying to close the work of the civic organizations, and especially those people or organizations which are working in programs like human rights or democracy. So they are trying to shut out those organizations. So yeah, so those laws are we can call them draconian laws, because in this 21st century we don't expect such laws. Then, as you see, we have got members of the opposition who are still incarcerated at remand for more than 100 days. They were denied bail, but as the constitution of our country, every person has a right to bail, because is innocent until proven guilty. But unfortunately, our magistrates, our courts, they are refusing to grant bail to people like Jameson Timber and the other 65 guys who are incarcerated since they were arrested on June 16. So it's the other way of weaponization of our laws. So people, they are saying the government at this present moment, this 21st century, we don't expect to have our country to have some of the those draconian laws. We want a country where we have freedom of association, and we want people to participate, to have their voices, to have a choice to choose which party they want to belong. So that is what every Zimbabwean want in this country. But unfortunately, the government is trying to put those draconian laws which will affect the operations of most of the organizations that help in to capacitate the Zimbabweans. Then the other issue that we are going, I think this one will be the last one, is the new marriage act. There's from different people were talking about different views about this act. Some people, they said, no, this act allows promiscuity, especially to married couples, especially the people are married, because they said, no, the law allows a married person to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Uh, but it's been some of the contribution made by some legal experts. They just said, no, the law doesn't allow promiscuity to married couples, but the law is protecting people who are in civil marriages, like that not kuchaya mapoto. In Zimbabwe, we have several people in our families who are staying together, but hakuna kana kuti vanongogara is a live in and live in boyfriend and live in girlfriend vachigara vachichaya mapoto. So the law is saying no, kana magarisana kudaro, whether you have got children or you don't have children, but mudzimai nemurume, kana kuti in your partnership, if something happens, angave murume kana mukadzi afa, or kana makafunga kusiyana, it means you have to share the properties, or you have to benefit from the properties that we have, dzingave dzimba, dzingave mota, dzingave zvingave zvamakaita muri mese. So be careful vari kuchaya mapoto. Then the other issue which was put right away is the issue of marriage, the child marriage. The legal expert, they are saying the new act abolishes the marriage act. As you know, in our lifestyle, in our families, the community societies, vananga vanotizira, unonzwa mumwe achinzi akaroorwa ane 14 years, mumwe ane 13, mumwe ane 15, mumwe ane 16. So the marriage act haisi kutendera wana anonzi vanhu vandine makore ari pasi pemakore 18 years. So mutemo uri kuti anenge aroora wacho neanenge arudza vese munenge mune mhosva. Though we know we still have some we call it churches, or I don't know, who believe zvekupanana vana kana kuti mwana anoenda kumudhara kumunhu ane makore 15 iye ari underage. I think the government or the legal experts, they should try to go to those churches or organizations try and teach and educate them about the repercussion if you marry someone who is underage. Yeah, and the new act also allows it's the harmonization of the old and the harmonization of different marriage acts. As you know, previously we have got two or several marriage acts where the one allows monogam, then the other one allows you to have more than one wife. But this new act seems allows a man to marry as many wives as he wishes. I think that is according to the new law. So I think the people, they have to go through the act, and the members of parliament who passed this act, they should support to go back to their constituents and educate people. If people, they have their consents, then those issues should be addressed, because the law must be clear. The law must protect the citizens, and the law also must preserve our cultural values. So yeah, if the duties of the members of parliament is to the senators and other organizations which involved in awareness campaigns when it comes to law. We have got human rights organizations like Human Rights Watch, legal foundations. We have got women organization which involves in law, or they try to do legal awareness campaigns to teach people about how the laws, certain laws in the country works. So I think at this present moment, those people, they should go and enlighten the general public about these laws. Where if there is somewhere where we need clarification, they should clarify before the new marriage bill becomes an act, because it's yet to go to the Senate, and if the Senate approves that marriage, and if the president assent or signed, it becomes law. So we still have some time. People must, those who have access to internet, they can Google, they can read. If they have questions, they can ask. There are some different platforms where they can ask where they don't understand. I think, yeah, that's all for this week. Have a great week. Bye for now.